chicken broth or soup flavors of your choice. Follow the ingredients. When it comes to the soup, I am a fan of the consomme soup by Osem, and it is a very good soup. And this is the brand I use. Follow the instruction, and typically 3/4 of a cup per matzo ball is what I use as a gauge.
And it is vegan friendly since it's parve.
Yep. So that one almost everybody can enjoy.
Yep.
So let's get started. Basic ingredients, because we're going to make a lot of matzo balls. I have 6 matzahs. I have 4 eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4. My favorite, I have onion. In this case, just a little bit over a cup. You'll need a dash of ginger and matzo meal. On the matzo meal, I usually pour some out, and I use it maybe 1/3 of a canister. Once I'm done, I throw it away. You'll never use that again. And I use this to bind the matzah and to make my hands not as sticky. And you'll see they will get sticky. The first thing I do is actually I take some Pam or whatever cooking spray, and I just coat a plate, because that's where I'm going to put the matzo balls when I'm done. I like to take my matzo balls when they're formed and put them in the refrigerator overnight. That's my preference. That was my mom's preference. That was my grandma's preference. So I maintain that tradition. So the 6 matzo that I have here, and play around if you like. It's a very simple, easy recipe. It takes no more than 15 minutes at the most to make matzo balls. But I literally will soak them for 30 seconds in cold water. So I get the cold water going, and then I literally count 30 seconds out. And so now my matzo balls are covered, and I actually press it down and I start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now, don't ask me why 30. That's just what my grandmother and my mom did. So it always works, and perfection. So then you can take it, you break it up. You can kind of squeeze out a little bit of the excess water.
Those are done.
Okay. No, that's fine. And then I put them in a bowl. Okay, I take my 4 eggs. There's no order in what you do here. Take the 4 eggs and drop them in there. One, 2, 3. This is number 4. I take my onions, just throw them in there. And in this case, because I am making a double batch, I'll use a couple shakes. Why shakes? Well, that's what my mother did. So a couple shakes, and that gets the ginger mix in there. And then the only way to make matzo balls is by mixing everything by hand. So you just get in there and start mixing. And you get it. This is great for kids. You know why? They would love this mess. And just mix everything until it's all mixed together, and it's the eggs coating everything, the ginger's mixing in there, breaking up the matzah, not too fine. You don't want any big pieces, just really small pieces. So it kind of looks like this. There you go. So now this is where the matzo meal comes into play. And I did have my clean hands before we get started, before I got started. I just take some matzo meal, and it's a good idea to put some extra in there because if your hands are all sticky and you need some more and you don't have a helper, then you got to clean up and do it all again. So I take matzo meal, put it on my hands, and then I don't mind the matzo meal dripping in there, dropping in. Then I'd start forming my balls. Okay, not knowing how many people are attending your Seder, um, I might have as many as 9 people at my Seder. I'm going to make at least one matzo ball per person. What I will tell you is don't make too big or too many because even though they taste good and they're delicious, save room for the brisket and everything else. So one matzo ball and the soup per person. And again, I form a ball and I just go back and forth. I press it a little bit and I take it, put it on the plate, do it again. You know, keep my hands a little bit non-sticky with the matzo meal. Start forming it and sprinkle some matzo meal on it to help get that shape going and hold that shape. Again, you can make, I try to make a little bit bigger than golf ball size because they are good and they do work well. If you make it too big, okay, so what? You know, if you like it, great. You make it the same way. If you want a really big one, you can make it a big one. But I use maybe just about a little bit bigger than a golf ball, a little bit smaller than a baseball. Again, sprinkling matzo meal to help form and keep that shape going. Pressing it down a little bit. I mean, see how it looks. I mean, you can see the matzahs, you can see the onion. I'm not a fan of the processed one where it's nice and smooth. Just not a fan of that one. And all my friends will tell you, when I see that one, I just cringe. And just go back and forth. This is like one of the easiest, fun, messy recipe that I've seen for matzo balls. I've never had anybody else make matzo balls that tasted so good. So bless my mom and grandmother. May their names be for memory and rest in peace. Every time I make these, I get the one-on-one with both my mom and grandmother because I know they're with me making it. So that's pretty cool to me. If there's going to be 9 people, I'm going to probably make 2 batches because I want to make sure I get the 9 matzo balls. With the 6 so far, I'm up to 3, 6. I might need another half recipe, but again, I could always make them a little bit smaller by pushing them down or by pressing them. You're helping them form so they don't break up. They're not too loose. If they're too loose, they will break up when you go to cook them in the soup. And I'm probably going to hit that magic number of 9.
So you said that was a double batch?
Well, that was 6 matzahs.
6 matzahs makes 9 matzo balls.
Yeah, again, these are decent size. They're not too small.
So do they?
This one's a little bit on the small side because I want to make that 9. And maybe some people don't like a big matzah.
Do they, when you cook them, do they expand, David?
They will expand. Good question, Bruce. If you make these and you make them too big, because they do expand, they will get much larger and maybe even too large.
So you gotta, when you put them in the pot of soup, you gotta leave some room for them to expand.
Well, whenever you're ready to go to the next stage, make sure you have a big enough pot for as many matzo balls you're going to use. If it's just a family of 4 and you're making 4 matzo balls, your normal 1 quart pot should do well. Okay, so there's the 9 matzo balls, nice size, ready to go to the next stage. This is the hardest part, is cleaning up. Well, I want to show everybody. Bruce is going to show you the matzo balls, what they look like, and true to form, those are matzo balls as far as the shape goes, and almost pretty all equal in size. Now, the next part could be, because I don't have a time delay camera or anything else like this. Typically, what I do is I'll take this, I cover them up. Cover up nice, not too tight, I'm not smashing them. And then I put them in the refrigerator overnight. I do that because it gives it time to gel and hold that consistency. So full circle 24 hours. What I would do then is we'll come over to the stove. I would then take my matzo balls and my soup. I bring my soup to a boiling water, to a boil. So now the soup is boiling. I would then drop in, and I have a little bit of surprise for you. I then drop in very gently each matzo ball into the soup. Okay. Once I drop them all in, the most important thing, and if you don't remember anything else, you got to remember this. Once you bring it to a boil, turn it to simmer, you put the lid on, and you cannot at all lift up this lid for any reason for 20 minutes. That's the cooking time. The matzo balls will be loading and rotating around. If you don't believe me, and you go ahead and you can talk to my kids, I watch this and make sure I'll bring it to their attention not to lift this lid. If you do, 2 things will happen. 1, your matzo ball will go flat. It'll fall. Okay, you don't want that. But more importantly, I assure you, my mom and my grandmother will come and haunt you for a year. So please don't do that. Okay, so the matzo balls, we come over to this pan, been simmering. Another batch I made ahead of time, simmering, and they're done. They've been cooking for my 20 minutes. And I take my ladle and my soup, and you can just see, hopefully you can see the matzo ball, and again, maybe 3/4 of liquid to the matzo ball. The matzo balls maintain its shape. If I could bring the camera over to the matzo balls sitting there, is that possible, Bruce?
I think that's possible. Let's take a look.
You can see I made 5 matzo balls ahead of time. They all maintain their shape. They didn't fall. Why didn't they fall? Because no one lift the lid. And now, so you can start your Seder. You can start your Seder and know 20 minutes in, your matzo soup is probably ready to go. So I always start my Seder, drop my soup, 20 minutes into the Seder, we're probably done with the first part, ready for our meal. And I know the soup is ready and we can go ahead and start serving soup first and some of your other favorites, the filter fish and other things that you might like. It's that simple. But key thing is how many matzo balls you're going to need to make. So you might need three matzahs. You might need 6 to get that number. And then once you form it, and you can see the consistency when, right now, but it's even that much better when it's overnight and let them cool. Then you drop them in to the boiling soup, and then you let it simmer and don't touch the lid. And then in 20 minutes, you have the best matzo ball you could ever have.
Okay, so why don't we take some questions? If there are any
If
questions,
anybody has any questions,
go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question.
Bruce and I are going to sample.
Let's see. Okay. All right. I'll just, ask
I
them.
noticed that this is being recorded. Is this something that you can share out to us after it's done?
Bruce can answer that. He's
Yep.
the controller of that.
Sure will, Erica. I think we're actually going to post this probably to the public page we have on Facebook.
Okay,
Right.
cool. Thank you.
So now we get to sample
So-
here.
I will sample it and I will tell you the truth. Hot.
Mm.
Wow, hot.
Very hot.
But it's so good. This is going to be my dinner tonight. 'Cause
Mm.
we have 5 matzo balls between Bruce and I eat, so it'll be our dinner.
No room for brisket tonight.
No.
All right. Dave, want to close it out?
Any questions, you can always email me, call me. Try it. It's a simple recipe. And you can try it, mix different type of eggs. Not eggs, the matzah. You can have egg matzah. Gives it a different flavor. But again, if you start going wild and adding your own ingredients, then you went off the traditional ingredients my grandmother, my mom passed down to me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy your Passover. Everybody be safe, be good, and thank you for joining us.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
David. And bye-bye, Erica.
Bye. Nice to see everyone on Zoom. Good job, Dad.
Right. Bye-bye.